Good morning and welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morse. Today's going to be a little bit different. I don't have a guest with me, but what I thought I'd do a little bit different today is talk about or teach kind of what I do in class. It's going to be a little bit different for me not having a group in front of me. My classes have ranged anywhere from 12 people all the way up to over 150 people in a ballroom. It's been an interesting journey as I started this. When it first started, my very first class, they had 25 people in the class. It was a 4-week session. We went through the process of 4 weeks of this class. And from there, we ended up with 18 people at the end. A couple of people dropped out, figured this wasn't for them. At the time, the only trade that we offered was painting. So to start off, we started our very first class. One of the biggest things that I've realized in teaching these classes and going through this is we can teach anybody to paint, but we need them to learn employability skills. We need them to learn communication. And for some people, they go their whole lives without understanding what this is. So for me, when I wrote this curriculum, I thought, what is the number one thing I need to teach people or I would like to see in an employee? And it's employability skills. I will take somebody that shows up every day 10 minutes early over a guy that's a better painter, a better employee that shows up late every day or hungover. So in writing this curriculum and what I went through, it was a process of everything I dealt with in my business. It was everything that I was dealing with on a day-to-day basis. When I started my business, I started with 2 guys in my garage and now have over 100 employees working for me. That's a big leap in a period of just a little over 10 years. And we are still growing. To let you know how fast we've grown, and I would say 3 years ago, I maybe had 18 to 20 employees. So in the last 3 years, that's where we've grown. That's the change. The change has started with me looking at what we're doing differently as far as teaching our employees, what we're training our employees with. 4 years ago, I also quit drinking. I changed that in my life. That was a major step in the right direction for me. But going through what we've gone through to grow the business and to guide people in what we're teaching, our very first lesson starts with basic communication and employability skills. And looking at this, and our classes typically run about 2 hours each. How do you teach 2 hours of basic communication and employability skills? And for me, a lot of it's just shooting from the hip when I get up there and start teaching. It's talking about previous situations, previous employees, different things that I've dealt with over the years. How do I deal with these situations? How do I deal with just today? A perfect example is we had an employee call our office and say she was quitting. She's been working for us now for about 4 months. She came through the program. She's been a great employee. She's outworked half the guys that work for me. We offer paid sick time. And what's interesting is she used her last 3 days last week of sick time and then calls in and quits today. What does that say about her as an employee? And as far as a referral for another job? In the Valley, I've got a lot of friends that are painting contractors. We all communicate with each other. You guys met Rick with R&R Painting, who was on one of our previous episodes. If he calls me and asks me about her, there's a possibility, I'm going to explain what happened and where we're at and how did she work. Great employee. But when it came to her personality and what she performed and what we look for in that perfect employee, it's part of our class isn't just making a better employee. It's making a better person. It's trying to change who we are and what we come from. For some of the guys that come through our program, they've never had a job in their life. How do you teach someone that's never had a job how to be a good employee? Well, it starts with communication. It starts with telling the truth. It starts with being that person that's going to be reliable. So starting off with what I look for is reliability. That's one of the very first things I look for in a new employee. How reliable are they? One thing we teach in our class is you're only on time if you're 10 minutes early. Being reliable, shown to work every day, being on time, doing what you say you're going to do. That is the most important thing, I think, in looking for an employee that's going to work long term. We look for guys that are going to be with us for a very long time. We look for guys that we want to invest in. We want guys and gals that want to look at this as a trade that they can work at for many, many years. If they hit a certain point in their journey with us that they decide this isn't what they want anymore, I'm okay with that. I'm okay if they want to go on to something different, something better. This wasn't the path that they expected it was going to be. So we want them to be able to move on. There's no hard feelings. Just if you're going to move on, do it in the right way. So not like this employee this morning that used up their sick time and then quits the day after they have no more sick time left. That's not leaving with a good impression. I want to know that this person, that maybe they go somewhere else, it doesn't work out. Now, 3 months down the road, they decide they want to come back. How's that going to look? Am I likely to hire that person back? Probably not. Put a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm looking at this situation 3 months down the road, and we keep notes on every employee. Is this person someone I want to hire back? And at that point, I'm probably going to say no. I would not hire this person back. So don't burn that bridge as you move on to something else, because you never know when you want to come back across that bridge and say the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So you have to think about these things as you're going through this. Reliability is huge in being an employee. That's what I'm looking for in employability skills. I want somebody that's going to be reliable, someone that's going to do what they say. I don't need the best painter out there. I don't need the fastest worker or the person that's going to do everything to perfection. But I want somebody that's going to be reliable and show up every day and put their best foot forward and give it their best effort. That's what we look for. You don't have to be the best painter to move up into a superintendent position or an estimating position with us. Sometimes it's not the best painter that moves up, but it's the best employee. It's the best person that fits for that job. A lot of times we look at other people and, it's human nature to take the easy way out, to not try as hard, so when it comes to somebody else moving up before you, look at them and think, what are they doing differently that I'm not doing? What skill set, what changed in them? Why are they the one that's moving up the ladder so fast versus other people? We can learn from this by looking at them and saying, okay, they did this, I'm not doing this, that's what I'm going to change. Will that make me better? What do I need to do to try harder at what I'm accomplishing here within this business? When it comes to communication, we've got employees that, John, I want to be a superintendent, I want to be an estimator, I want to move up, but I'm getting looked over. Well, have you come talk to us about it? Come sit down with somebody and ask them, what do I need to do to change? What do I need to do to earn that position? Where am I lacking? Where am I weak? Where are my weaknesses that I need to improve on? If one of my employees comes in and sits down and talks with me about this, I'm going to sit there and explain to them exactly what they need to work on, what the expectations are. It's constructive criticism. That's what you need to look for. If we're always trying to better ourselves, we will become better. But if we don't try to better ourselves, if we don't continue to try to improve, you're never going to improve. You're never going to better. You're never going to move up in position. So that's what we're looking for. Are you showing up to the meeting on time that you need to be at? Are you showing up to work on time? Today being Monday, man, I can't begin to tell you how many guys called out sick. Or one of our guys got pulled over for a DUI last night. Now he doesn't have his tools. Now he's asking to borrow tools. We're trying to help him out. It's all these situations, so When I'm looking for reliability in an employee, it's not the one that went out and got the DUI last night. That person's definitely not moving up in position. So these are the things that we look for as we're looking for better employees. These are the skill sets that make you more employable. And you have to be humble. You have to show some signs of humility when you're doing this. How am I going to be humble today? How am I going to learn more? How am I going to step back and say, what do I need to do differently? That's being humble. If you can honestly do that, that's where it starts. You have to be able to look in the mirror and look at yourself in the morning and say, you know what, whatever goes right today, I did that. Whatever goes wrong, I also did that. Have some accountability in what you're doing. That's where I think a lot of people, they've pushed accountability aside. They haven't looked at themselves and hold themselves accountable. We're too quick and too easy to blame everybody else for our problems or our job, or I didn't get this raise because of this, or I didn't get the promotion because of this. It's time to start to take an inner look at ourselves. How are we changing ourselves to become better? We become stagnant at a certain point to where I think and even I'm at fault sometimes. I get complacent. I get stuck in my ways. I just kind of ride the ride until the next thing happens or the next thing changes. What am I doing to get off that ride and push myself a little more? It's, for me, I got to help myself sometimes. Reading a book, listening to a podcast. Just signed me and one of my guys up for a business seminar that we're going to go to for 3 days in a couple months. What can I do to better myself? Find groups, find organizations that are going to help you. There's organizations in every trade. YouTube stuff. That's one thing I teach guys when they're going through the painting side, the trade side of our class. If you're struggling with something, start YouTubing and watching videos, seeing what's out there to help you better yourself in these situations. So take that in consideration. What am I doing to improve myself? Can I be humble? Can I be reliable? It's part of growing in this business. I've made a lot of mistakes. If I had $1 for every mistake that I made in growing my business, I'd be a millionaire right now, just from the mistakes. I've learned from every single mistake that I've made to better myself in what I'm doing. And I'm going to continue to make mistakes, but I'm going to continue to learn. I'm going to continue to grow and improve on these things. It's interesting. I was having a conversation with someone earlier about years ago, I used to hire guys that used to own their own businesses working for me. I thought, these guys are employable. They have their own business. They're going to work great for me. They're going to be the next best thing to help grow my business. Boy, was I wrong. What I soon realized was these guys that previously owned their own business, there's a reason they weren't in business anymore. They were good maybe at one thing within that business. Whether it was estimating, whether it was being a supervisor, whether it was painting, there's so many different aspects to this business. And what I soon realized is they were good at one thing, not everything. They didn't learn how to run a business. I think what I realized after the first 3 years of running my business is I was no longer a painter. I was a business owner, and I was going to run it like a business and learn every aspect I could about running the business, whether it was estimating, whether it was billing, whether it was being a superintendent, whether it was painting, whether it was how to negotiate. There's so many things that I could learn and better myself at. And as I started growing the business and I started hiring these guys, it was soon to my realization that they were not the best. I realized that I had guys working for me in the field as painters that were probably better than these guys that ran their own business. And I could teach them how to do these positions, how to become a better asset to the company. And it's interesting, as these guys came on board that ran their own business, that thought they knew what they could do to help me grow my business, I don't know how many times I heard, well, we did it this way over here, or, we did it this way at my business. And, I got to the point where I got tired of hearing about how everybody else did it. We were trying to figure out our own, and we were perfecting what we were doing to the point where I hung a sign on my office door that said there's a right way, the wrong way, and the PHP way within my company, because it got really old fast hearing all these guys talking about what they did, but yet they didn't have their business anymore. There was a reason. So I started taking an inner look at myself and how we were doing things. And slowly, as these guys went away, I realized we're going to grow within the business. We're going to become stronger as a whole. I'm going to give guys an opportunity to move up in position that probably would never have that opportunity previously. So as these guys moved up, some made it, some didn't. Some went back to the field. They realized it wasn't for them. I realized that they weren't the right fit for it sometimes too. Each person has a different fit within the organization of what we're doing and how we're growing the business. And some of them, it's interesting as they've come to me and said, hey, this is not for me. I want to go back in the field. I just want to be a painter. That's okay. And years down the road, they've actually moved back up in position or slowly and realized that they just needed to take a step back to move forward. And each person's going to grow at a different path, a different rate for themselves. So you have to figure out the path and the growth for yourself. How are you going to proceed with this? You also have to find the right company. I can't begin to tell you how many people I've interviewed over the years, and, I'll have a guy sitting in front of me and he's worked for 10 different companies in the last 10 years. Well, what didn't work out at each company? What was the problem? Well, this company did this or that company did this. It was never I did this or I didn't work out for the company. It was too quick to blame everybody else. And I realized if I did hire this person, they're going to work for us for a year and then they're going to be down the road working for somebody else. That's not who I'm looking for. So how can we change this mindset of what we're looking for? How can we change our mindset as an employee going into a business working for somebody else? The change starts with being an asset to that company and growing with that company. Here where we're at, there's probably 1,000 paint companies out there. I mean, you can go work for 1,000 different companies in your lifetime. But the key is to find one and stick with it and grow with that company. A lot of guys think, oh, the money's better at this company, or I'm going to go jump ship and go make 50 cents more an hour, $1 more an hour. And as they keep bouncing from company to company, if they would have just stuck with the company they were at, in the long run, they would have made more money. They would have moved up in position. There would have been more benefits to sticking with just the company they were with. But I think it's human nature. We want the easy way out. We want the quick fix, the quick buck. It doesn't work that way. You've got to just get in there and grind. One thing I believe in, and, there's other podcasts out there. There's one I listen to called Stay Hungry. And I'm hungry all the time for something more. Within that same podcast, there's another one called Beast Mode. And you've got to be like that at all times. You have to have that drive, that hunger to move forward. Life isn't going to be easy out there. The job's not going to be easy. You have to find a way to make it work. So as teaching people the basic communication and employability skills, it comes with how you present yourself. How am I going to represent me as a person to this guy that has an opportunity to hire me or fire me? When guys come in and they're applying for a job and they walk in and they're still wearing their sunglasses when they walk into my office for an interview, that doesn't give me a good impression. Are their pants hanging down below their butt cheeks? Are they going to answer their phone during the interview? I actually had a guy answer his phone during an interview. Excuse me, I need to take this. The interview's over at that point. I am not going to hire you. That tells me you're going to be on your phone all day at work, that there's something about that phone that's more important to you than the actual job that you're needing to pay for your lifestyle and your bills. I don't need guys that are going to come to work every day and talk on their phone. We've fired guys for that in the past. It does happen. How are you going to dress when you come to work? How are you going to represent yourself? If you're working for me, you're wearing one of our company shirts. How are you going to represent yourself and represent our company? You're an extension of that business. You have to act like it. You have to believe in it. We had a guy one time in a company truck and getting a fight in front of a Quickie Mart, getting his coffee in the morning. In our company truck, in a company shirt. Needless to say, he no longer works for us. But what kind of representation is that to the company itself? That's what we're not looking for. That's not the ideal employee. So how do you change that? How do you change that mindset? You have to want something more. Some people are never going to change. I've realized that. But what this program is for and what the classes are for are the people that do want to change. If you honestly want to change who you are, it starts with you. It starts with you being a better employee. Quit blaming everybody else for your problems. Quit blaming the company for you not moving up or other people within the company. I've heard everything about my company that's political and it's this or it's that. And, you can only move up if you're friends with the owners. And it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way at all. And it doesn't work with seniority. It works with who's the best fit for the next position. Who's the best fit? Now, with a lot of guys coming out of our programs, they're living in housing. They're needing a ride to work. We help provide that. So here we are providing a ride to work every day for guys. Now, knowing that, be ready outside when the vehicle's there to pick you up. Be out there 10 minutes early. Don't make our vehicle wait for you. Because I tell you what, if our vehicle has to wait more than 5 minutes, we're leaving and you're missing the day of work. So that 5 minutes, what did that actually cost you? That 5 minutes cost you a day's wages. How's that going to affect your lifestyle? It's also going to affect you when we look at the next guy to promote. What are you doing to be the best at what you're doing? When you come in an interview and you're sitting in front of us or we're having a meeting, don't slouch. Don't play on your phone. Don't be goofing off with the guy sitting next to you. These are all things that you have to look at when you're trying to move up in position or to impress the people above you that are going to make the decision on whether you move up or not. So how do you proceed with this? How do you look at this and say, what do I need to do differently? Is it the way I dress? Is it the way I walk? Is it the way I talk? Is it the way I carry myself? My goal for you and part of this program with me is I'm going to change the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress, the way you carry yourself. That's the bottom line in this. That's what we're here to change. And you might say, John, that's harsh. It's people are who they are and you can't change them. Then this isn't the place for you. And you better leave your feelings at the door because when it comes to work, your boss doesn't care about your feelings. Your feelings need to stay outside the door when you come to work. We don't have time for that in the emotions. We have schedules to keep. We have work to do. We have a job to do. Before and after work, deal with your feelings at that point. But when you come to work, we don't have time for that. It's going to affect your job. It's going to affect whether you make more money or not. It affects everything. I don't care about your feelings when it comes to work. I do care about you as an individual. I do care about your feelings, but work is work and after work is different. You have to look at that situation. And there's going to be people that say, oh, John, that's messed up. You shouldn't talk like that, or you should care about these people a little more. I do. But there's a time and place. And work is not the time and place for that. We have to focus on the job at hand and what's in front of us. That's what we're here to do. And so if that's not for you, then this program's not for you. You're not going to make it. And it is a tough world out there. And we're living in a time right now where nobody wants to work out there. People want to be lazy. They're trying to take the easy way out. And if you're one of those people, you're not going to make it. This program, what we're offering, this is for the people that want something more, that are willing to be hungry and willing to be in beast mode. You know, I heard something one time that the shark has to keep moving forward. If it stops or goes backwards, it dies. It has to smell blood all the time to move forward. That's what this is. We're sharks moving forward nonstop. We can't stop. We can't move backwards. We have to continue with what we're doing. We have to continue to stay hungry. We have to continue to drive forward. That's what work is. That's what we're giving you through this. We're giving you the opportunity to better yourselves and have something more. But are you willing to sacrifice what it takes? If all you want to do is take the easy way out, then go be a greeter at Walmart and say hi to everybody every day. But if that's what you want to do, be the best damn greeter you can be. Be the best at what you're doing and thrive on that. I don't care what you want to do. I don't care where you want to work. I don't care if you want to flip burgers. I don't care if you want to work in an air-conditioned office. Whatever you do, though, be the best at it. Be the best at what you're going to do and better yourself every day at doing it. Because if you're not doing that, it's not worth doing. Find something else that you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy it, it's just a job, get out and find something else. This isn't for everybody. Everybody has a different path. Everybody has different desires. You know, growing up, it's interesting because I just learned to work. The other option was getting in trouble. And I did a lot of getting in trouble when I was younger. But the one thing that seemed to work for me was just grinding and working. And when I put my mind to something, I just did it and I moved forward. And that's how I've gotten to where I've gotten today. Don't look back and think, what if I did this differently? Or what if I should have done this? What you have in front of you is what's right in front of you. I'm making the best decision I can today with the information I have in front of me. And I'm going to live with that and move forward. Now, 3 months down the road, the information might change. I might have to change the way I'm thinking or the way I'm doing things. But I'm going to grow from it every step of the way. That's what we do. That's how we move forward. We have to grow every day. We have to move forward every day. We have to learn. Don't be complacent. That's what's killing us right now. That's what's killing the job market right now. People are complacent. They don't want to do hard work. And I'm telling you right now, in the trades, in the skills, whether it's being a plumber, whether it's a framer, a drywall, electrical, painting, there's so many trades out there that there's so much money to be made. I read somewhere here recently, for every 50 people leaving the trades, there's only 3 or 4 replacing them. That tells you this younger generation doesn't want this. So if you're one of those guys that you feel like you're going nowhere, nothing's happening, now's the time to look yourself in the mirror and make that change. This is that moment that you can say to yourself, this is my change today. I'm going to change where I'm going, what I'm doing. I'm going to be a better employee. I'm going to listen to this lesson. I'm going to listen to what's being told to me right now, and I'm going to make the change. I'm going to look myself in the mirror, in the eyes, and say, it starts today with me, moving forward. This is how you start. Now, some of you out there might be saying, oh, well, I'll start tomorrow. No, it starts today. Make that change now. Stop procrastinating. Make it happen for yourself. Only you can make the change. No one else is going to do it for you. I've had 1,000 people come through my class before and tell me, oh, because of you, John, I'm better. Because of you, I've got this great job. No, I just showed you the way. That's all I'm doing here. I'm showing you the way and how to do it. That's what this is. This is your opportunity to make the change, but listen. And it's amazing how many people say, John, your class is just common sense. Well, common sense isn't common anymore. No one's paying attention. But if you open up your eyes and realize this is just common sense, I can do this. I'm going to make the change. I'm going to make it happen for myself. This is where it starts. It starts with you becoming a better employee, communicating differently. Today's the change to where you change the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress, the way you carry yourself. It's going to be a change, but you can do it. It starts with setting your clothes out the night before for work, getting ready, getting prepared. That's where it starts. It's interesting as people have gone through our classes in our program, and they thought, oh, that's the most stupidest thing I ever heard. Setting my clothes out. Yes, set your clothes out. It will make a difference. You will be ready and be more prepared the next morning. I was in class one time teaching this and about setting your clothes out. And my wife was actually there and sitting and listening to one of my classes. And I thought she never knew this, but my clothes are hung in the closet a certain way, and there's a certain rotation. I know what I'm wearing 5 days from now. And I thought she didn't realize that, but she knew. She laughed. It was kind of funny, when I look back at her, she goes, I knew. It's where it starts. It's preparing yourself. My keys, my phone, my money clip with my credit cards are all sitting in the same spot every single day. I know exactly where they are. I have a routine. I have perfected that routine for myself over the years to where I'm more efficient getting ready for work. That's the difference. I don't use an alarm clock anymore. It sits there next to the bed. It's not even plugged in anymore. Had the same one for many, many, many years. But I'm up at 3:15 every single morning without question. I've just trained myself to do this. So as you train yourself, what happens? It becomes a habit. You start doing it without even realizing you're doing it. Then it becomes second nature, and you become better at it. And then you become more efficient. Leaving the house or the apartment or where you're living 10 minutes early. Be prepared when you get to work. Why do we want to leave early for work? How many guys are I watch them clock in, they're 10 minutes late every single day. How is it that a person can become habitually 10 minutes late every single day? It doesn't make sense to me because I'm 10 minutes early every day. And that started for many, many years ago for myself to where I had a truck back in the old day, or vehicles, the clocks on there weren't linked to satellites or however they're set up nowadays. You actually had to set the time on the clock on your radio in your vehicle. And I set mine 10 minutes early. So I was always 10 minutes early. I was always on time for work without fail, to the point now where it just becomes second nature. I'm always early for everything that I need to be at. Now, that doesn't mean as I go through my busy, hectic day that I'm going to be on time every single time, but I sure as hell try to. I might be a little late for a meeting once in a while, but guess what? I'm calling it 10 minutes ahead to let them know I'm running late. I give them the courtesy of that phone call saying I'm going to be a little bit late, or if I have a job walk or an estimate that I have to go do, and I know I'm not going to make it on time, I'm calling that person to prepare them. Hey, just a heads up, I'm running a little bit late. Are we still good? Just to make sure that they're okay with it. That's what we do to make sure we're on time. So it starts with those little changes. And some of you out there, you're not going to make 20 different changes all at once to better yourself. What you're going to do is you're going to make one change at a time. You're going to make one change here. A couple days later, make the next change. It starts with slow steps. Some people can make multiple changes at the same time and make it work. Other people can't. If you're one of the ones that can't, just one step at a time. Today, I'm going to make sure I'm 10 minutes early. And then I'm going to do it day after day after day. And it becomes repetition. Setting my clothes out. It's not that hard before you go to bed. Set your clothes out that you're going to wear the next day. Make sure that your clothes are ready. It amazes me how many guys show up on a Monday and they're not in a company shirt. And I ask them, hey, where's your company shirt? Oh, I forgot to do laundry this weekend. I'm sorry. That's not an excuse I accept. I do not forget to do my laundry. There's a routine. There's a day for it. We make sure that we have what we need. And with our guys with company shirts and painter's pants, well, make sure you have enough to wear every single day with an extra pair once in a while. It's not that hard to make sure you're prepared. So what about packing a lunch? Prepare your lunch. I got a guy works for me, Fred. You guys met him last week. He packs his lunch every day the day before, the night before. It's ready to go. That saves that time in the morning. So what are you doing to prepare yourself when you do get to work? If you're clocking in at 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning on a job site, you better have your hand tools ready to go at that moment. That's what you need to do to prepare yourself. I'm walking on a job. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm ready to work the second I clock in. I'm not going to walk in and clock in at 6 o'clock and walk around for 15 minutes and try and figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to know exactly what I'm going to do. And if I'm on a brand new job and I'm clocking in at 6 o'clock and I've never been on this job, I'm going to make sure I'm there a little bit more than 10 minutes early so I can figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to plan my day so I can be the most productive, the most effective, and give it 110%. I want to know that I'm there to produce the most that I can for whoever I'm doing a job for. Even though I own the company, if I go out on a job and I'm working, I got to produce because someone's paying me. Someone's paying that company. Someone's paying us to give them a performance and do a certain job, and we're going to perform it to the best of our ability. So in doing this, make sure that you're ready. Hand tools ready to go. As a painter, painting one day and going into the next day, don't show up first thing in the morning and clean your brushes. You should have cleaned your brushes the day before, or your rollers, making sure you're ready. Making sure everything is in your bag of tools or your bucket of tools that you're bringing on the job site. Making sure you're prepared. What else can you do to prepare yourself? This is a question I ask guys in the class. And, here we are talking about this. What else can I do to prepare myself? Is my vehicle maintained? Is it running properly? I have heard the excuse, I got a flat tire. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 10 million times in the years that I've been in business. It is the oldest excuse in the book. And I don't even believe it half the time anymore. I honestly don't believe that half these guys get the flat tires that they got. The other excuse I think I've heard not as much as that one is probably my alarm clock didn't go off. How do you not know to set your alarm clock? I don't even have to use an alarm clock anymore. I will not rely on an alarm clock to wake me up in the morning. I will make sure I get myself to work. But if you're one of those guys that you just cannot wake up in the morning, you need an alarm clock, then set your alarm clock, set your phone with a clock, have multiple devices to go off, and don't hit the snooze button. That is the lamest, oldest excuse I've heard from so many people that it just, as an employer, we've heard it so many times, we don't even believe it anymore. It's unfathomable. Or a guy finally answers his phone or calls us around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock when he's supposed to be at work at 6. Oh, I just woke up. I'm calling bullshit on that. That is just lame and it's old, and just stop using that one because we don't believe it anymore. I would rather believe that you overslept because you were hungover. Just be honest with us. It's interesting. I could write a book on all the excuses I've heard, and every once in a while there's a random new one. It's like, holy crap, that's a good one. I haven't heard that one before, to the point where I almost believe some of the weird random stuff that are more believable than the cliche ones that everybody uses out there. So if you're one of the guys out there that's going out to look for a job, for an interview, make sure you're on time for that interview. One thing we ask guys is when they call in, well, what time would you like to be here? I'll be there at 9 o'clock in the morning. They don't show up till 11 o'clock. Hey, I thought we had an appointment at 9 o'clock. Well, yeah, but no, that's not a good first impression. First impressions are everything when it comes to getting a job. Make sure you're on time. Fill out the application properly. It's amazing how many guys say they have 20 years experience painting, but yet they put no previous employers on there. Oh, I've just been working for myself. Well, that doesn't cut it. We need references. We need people to call. I need to know that you work somewhere for somebody. If you want that job, act like you want that job. Don't come in and half-ass it. And if we do hire you, It's amazing how many guys will next day not show up after hiring them. Oh, well, I found a better job. They're paying me $1 more. Okay, fine. You're just shopping around. Do your research on a company that you're applying for. Find out about them. What do they consist of? What do they stand for? Look at our website. Look at our employee pictures. Look at what we do. Look at what we do as far as giving back to the community. What is that company about? Is it a company you want to work for? Or is it just a paycheck? I want something I can be a part of. I want something I can be a part of, something greater and bigger than myself. Not just a paycheck, not just a job. It's amazing how many guys have worked for me over the years that now, having nothing, now own their own cars. They're buying houses. They're doing something different with their lives that they never thought they could do before. There is money to be made, and if you stick with the same company, you will grow with that and create stability. That's what we all want. We want stability. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's with family, even in a job, in employment. Look for a place that has stability. Research those companies. Have they only been in business for a year? How long have they been around? That's what I'm looking for in an employee. How long were they at their last job? If I got a guy coming in, he's been at his last job for 10 years and he can prove that, that says something about him. But I also want to know why he left. What was he looking for? What changed in his life and what was the reason for leaving that company? So the guy that's been at the same company for 10 years versus the guy that's been at 10 different companies for 10 years, guess who I want? I want the guy that's been at the same job for 10 years that has stability. That shows me something in his character and who he is. That's what I'm looking for. I want people that show stability, that are reliable. So as you're out there looking for a job or you're looking for something new, don't just look for a job, look for a company, look for stability. Because if you feel like you have stability in your life and that's what you want, there's a lot of companies out there that I would not recommend going to work for. Even in our area in Arizona, in Maricopa County, I think there's 1,800 licensed painting contractors just in Maricopa County alone. That's everything from the mom and pop running out of their garage to the larger companies. And my company's not even the largest out there. There's many more bigger than mine. But look for a company that has the stability that's going to be around for a while, because the companies come and go. Look for somebody that offers paid sick time, paid vacations. We offer health insurance. Look for something that's going to give you more stability. So where is that? How do you find that? Research. Ask the people that work for that company. How did you hear about the company? Did you hear about it just from an ad on Craigslist or something else out there? Or did you see these guys working on a job site and you just drove up and asked them, hey, what company are you with? Are they hiring? Don't just ask if they're hiring. What kind of company is it? Are you happy there? Ask the employees that. Now, you're going to run into guys that they're going to say, yes, I'm happy here, and here's why. And you're going to have other guys, oh, it's just a paycheck. We have a certain amount of those guys too. I have a certain core group of guys that will always be with me that are going to work for us for many, many years. And then we have what I call the revolving door employees. The employees are going to come and go. And as our core group grows bigger, that revolving door group stays the same. There's just a certain amount of them that are always there, that are constantly revolving. But as that core group gets bigger, it's from those revolving doors. We find one once in a while that's going to stick with us, that was looking for stability, looking for a solid company to work for. But that doesn't mean I'm the best company out there. Anybody and everybody should work for me. I'm not a good fit for everybody, and you might not be a good fit for us. It's amazing how many people I've hired that weren't a good fit for us, and I hooked them up with another buddy that owns his own painting company that was a better fit. Find the company that you're the best fit for, or they're a good fit for you. You have to find the stability that's going to work for you and what you're looking for in your life. So as we look for employees and we're looking for guys that want stability, think about where you're at in your life. Think about how you can be a better employee. What do I need to change in my life to make myself better? I'm constantly doing it as an owner of the company and the growth of our company. How can I make myself better for the growth of the company and what we're doing? Part of what we did was starting this program, starting the classes, teaching guys how to be a good employee, teaching them how to paint. And it grew into more than that. Not only do we have painting now, but there's painting, there's culinary, there's welding, there's CDL, there's flooring, there's framing, there's drywall, there's electrical. It's grown into something bigger that I never knew it was going to become. I didn't know where this led when I first started with the very first painting class. That was just to fix my company. It's become more than that. My original intention was just to fix my company to help it with our labor issue that we had. And it's become something more. This has become a passion for me for teaching guys to be better employees, to be better in life in general. You know, there's some guys that are the core group that have sat through up to as many as 10 classes with me. And that's 4-week sessions of classes. So imagine sitting in a 4-week session of class for 10 sessions. How is that going to change? It becomes repetition. It's over and over. The people I've seen that go through this with us time and time again or follow this recipe that we've basically put in front of them, they become better employees, better fathers, better husbands, better members of society because of what they're learning through this. And it starts with you willing to make a change. It starts with you wanting to make something different of yourself. So as you go through your day today or whatever you're going through, and you're thinking about your job or what you're dealing with or things that are going wrong, think about how you can be a better employee. How can I make the change in my life? What changes do I need to make myself a better employee and to make my situation better? Or maybe you're in a dead-end job that you got to get out. Maybe you're just working a cash register somewhere and you're getting cents when it comes to raises. 30, 50 cents. Not in the trades. You come work for us, it's $1 to $2 each raise that you get. There's growth in the industry. There's growth in the trades and having a skill. Maybe it's time to make that change and try something different. It's time to better your life. Try something new and adventurous. But you got to be willing to change. And you got to jump all in. You've heard some of the previous people on our podcast and where they're at and what they're doing, and they're determined, they're driven. Is that you? Do you have that drive? Do you have that within yourself of wanting something more, something better? Is that who you are? And you feel like you're stuck? Then let's make a change. The change starts today, but it starts with you looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm going to make the difference today. I'm going to make the change within myself. We're going to make it happen together. So thanks for being with us here on our podcast. And hopefully you can take something from this. You know, we're going to start having a few more of these of just talking about what we teach in class and what the growth is. And today was basic communication and employability skills, what you need to do for yourself to make a change. And are you willing to make that change in yourself? Because it starts with you. You know, I can get you motivated, but you got to go out there and make it happen. Have a great day.